topography of lungs and pleura. That is a sternum. That is a sternum. Here it is clavicle, and ribs. How many ribs attached to sternum?
7.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7. What is this line? Linea mediana anterior. Linea mediana anterior. Look here, that is horizontal transverse section of human body. And sternum is here, that is linea mediana anterior. Yes, that is linea mediana anterior. Then what is this line? Mid-clavicular line. Here it is. Linea medioclavicularis. Between sternum and mid-clavicular line, linea parasternalis. Here it is. Linea parasternalis. In axillary cavity, we have linea axillaris anterior, linea axillaris media, and linea axillaris posterior. Through inferior angle of scapula, we have linea scapularis, and near of vertebral column, we have linea paravertebralis. And in spinal processes of vertebral column, we have linea, it was linea mediana anterior, here it is linea mediana posterior. That is topography lines on thoracic cage, yes? And now, apex of the lung is above 2 centimeters above of clavicle, 2 centimeters above of clavicle, or 3-4 centimeters above of the first rib. From this place, anterior border of the lung goes to sternoclavicular joint, and from here descend near of linea mediana anterior to the level of 5th rib on the right side. On the left side, the same 2 centimeters above of clavicle goes to sternoclavicular joint, but then descend to the level of 4th rib. Why? Because here it is heart. Heart is most part of the heart on the left side, clear. That is why on the left side, anterior border surround heart. On the right side, at the level of 5th costal cartilage, anterior border of the right lung continues to inferior border, and linea parasternalis, that is 5th intercostal space, here it is 5th intercostal space, then linea medioclavicularis, that is what is it, 6th rib, that is 6th rib, then linea axillaris anterior, that is 7th rib, here it is 7th rib, linea axillaris media, 8th rib, linea axillaris posterior, 9th rib, linea scapularis, 10th rib, and linea paravertebralis, 11th rib. It is not difficult. Each next line, 1 rib below. Clear it is, yes? That is inferior border of the right lung. And posterior border, it starts from the level of C7, spinal process of last cervical vertebra, and descend to the level of T11, 11th thoracic vertebra. That is posterior border of the right lung. Now, on the left side, everything is the same. Descend to the level of 4th rib, and here it is surround heart, and continues to inferior border at the level of 7th rib in linea axillaris anterior. There is no, here it is linea parasternalis, media clavicularis, just anterior border continues into inferior border in linea axillaris anterior. That is a level of 7th rib. And all another 8th rib in mid-axillary line, 9th rib in posterior axillary line, 10th rib in linea scapularis, and 11th rib in linea paravertebralis. That all in all is the same like on the right side. Clear?
Excuse me, sir. This is lingula pulmonis.
Lingula pulmonis is near of heart. That is, we cannot see lingula in this diagram, but should be here. Yes, that is in the region of incisura cardiaca. Yes, it's near of heart. And next moment, you already know that. Look here, that is lung. And lung supplies with pleura. And pleura has visceral layer, the same like peritoneum, if you remember. Peritoneum the same has visceral and parietal layers. Now, visceral layer, it fused with the lung, and parietal layer attached to thoracic cage. For example, this parietal pleura attached to ribs, yes? That is pleura costalis. This pleura attached to diaphragm, that is pleura diaphragmatica. And this pleura, mediastinal pleura, because it looks to organs between lungs, to mediastinum. Clear it is? And if we speak about borders of pleura, superior border, that is at the same place where superior border of the lung, it's attached. Superior border of the pleura, it corresponds to superior border of the lung. But inferior border of the pleura is below than inferior border of the lung. For example, if we speak that linea parasternalis, fifth intercostal space, that is lung, pleura will at the level of 6. It is 6th rib, pleura at the level of 7th rib. It is 7th rib, pleura at the level of 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th. One rib below pleura, inferior border of lung, and inferior border of pleura differ in one rib. Clear it is? Why it's so? Because in time of breathing, when lungs expand, it needs free space to expand. That is why inferior border of pleura is not correspond to inferior border of the lung. Next, we already said that it is mediastinal pleura, and this one, mediastinal pleura, and space between these two lungs, all of this space has inner organs. That is mediastinum. Mediastinum, that is complex of organs which take place in space between mediastinal pleura. Clear it is. And main organ in mediastinum, that is heart. Main organ in mediastinum, that is heart. Look here, that is a sternum, that is sternum, sagittal section of sternum. Here it is xiphoid prosa, that is manubrium. Here it is angulus sterni, and here it is vertebral column. Vertebral column, how many vertebrae? No, in thoracic cage we speak about 12. That is horizontal plane between T4 and angulus sterni. Horizontal plane, that is a border between superior mediastinum, and inferior mediastinum. And heart is in inferior mediastinum. That is why that is heart, and heart is in inferior mediastinum. And border between superior and inferior mediastinum, that is horizontal plane between angulus sterni and lower part of fourth thoracic vertebra, or superior border of the heart. Superior border of the heart, that is level between border between superior and inferior mediastinum. And inferior mediastinum subdivides into anterior mediastinum, posterior mediastinum, and middle part of inferior. all of this place that is inferior mediastinum, and here it is superior mediastinum. And you need to know inner organs in superior and in inferior mediastinum. For example, today you already know which organ behind of manubrium sterni? Thymus gland. Here it is arch of aorta, arcus aorta, and descendens aorta in posterior part of inferior mediastinum. Esophagus, both, it is in superior and continues to posterior part of inferior mediastinum. Superior vena cava in superior mediastinum, trachea in superior mediastinum, and subdivides into main bronchi, goes to right and left. That is trachea in superior mediastinum, and then goes to right and left bronchus principalis. What else? In anterior mediastinum, we have internal thoracic artery and veins. Two veins and one internal thoracic artery in each side. That is in anterior mediastinum. And middle part, that is heart together with pericardium, and phrenic nerves, the same, attached to pericardium. In your manual describes all organs in superior and in inferior mediastinum. You need to know. Topography. You not need to draw these diagrams next time. Only you need to answer topography of lungs, topography of pleura, mediastinum, and look here, sinuses or recessus of pleura. For example, space between costal pleura and diaphragmatic pleura, that is recessus costa diaphragmaticus, recessus or sinus costa diaphragmaticus. That is very important place because in time of pleuritis, that is inflammation of pleura, pus maybe accumulates in this space, in this sinus, and you need to remove this pus. You make punction, where, in which place? In mid-axillary line, between 8th strip and 9th strip. You insert needle, here it is, that is 8th strip, that is level of lung, and here it is 9th strip. And you insert needle into this sinus and remove pus from this sinus. Clear it is? This sinus, it is not so important, but you need to know that is phrenico-mediastinal sinus, sinus phrenico-mediastinalis, and between, if we draw in horizontal, look here, that is thoracic cage, here it is heart, that is costal pleura, here it is mediastinal pleura. Mediastinal pleura and costal pleura, and we can see space between mediastinal and costal pleura, that is sinus costo-mediastinalis. It is not important in medical practice, but you need to know sinus costo-mediastinalis, sinus phrenico-mediastinalis, and sinus costo-diaphragmaticus. What is here? Sorry. That is left lung. It is not third lobe. That is somebody cut superior lobe. That is left lung. Here it is fissura obliqua, just one fissura. You can see. Look here. What is it?
Secondary.
Yes, secondary lobules. Here it is very clear to see borders between them. Dark connective tissue on the borders between secondary lobules. And root of the left lung, superiorly should be arteria pulmonalis, then bronchus, and inferiorly one vein, and should be here another. I didn't see second pulmonary vein here. Artery, bronchus, and pulmonary veins below. A, B, V, V. That is bronchial tree. And that is all. Next time we will speak about kidney. Mini exam will in respiratory and urogenital system together after 3 weeks. After 3 weeks, mini exam in respiratory and urogenital system. Today that is all.